All right, welcome back. This is M-Dog. We're at 1044 here at Old Burg. Old Burg, old prison. And trying to see how it goes with float fishing for bream. It looks like this middle line is getting a nibble as we speak. I haven't done a lot of float fishing for bream, so we'll see how good we are at actually figuring out when the bites are happening. Obviously that was too early. Now we're getting a nibble on line 1. I was just kind of wondering, I'm not sure how far I'm supposed to be casting out there. Maybe we need to wait till the... See, normally, if it goes sideways like that, I think I need to check it, but maybe with bream, if they're really biting, they're going to take it all the way under. We'll see. But let's see if we can catch a bream or two on float. I don't know how long we'll do this. Look at that. I mean, it's just pushing it so far up. Yeah, nothing's there. Okay. Well, we'll figure it out. We will figure it out. There goes, again, sideways, but not all the way under. Let's talk about baits. On this middle line, I am using sandwich, 5-hook, pearl barley, cottage cheese. And that one's been going off a lot. This one we just got pearl barley. And this one is also just pearl barley. Between 7 and 8 kilo fluorocarbon line is what I'm using. Alright, that has got to be a fish on, right? Yeah. Alright, did we catch a bream? We did. So there is a bream on float. Very interesting. One thing I'm thinking about doing... Let's put that down so we can watch this a little better, because it's still getting like crazy bites. One thing I am thinking about doing, though, is actually putting one feeder in there. Look how aggressive those bites are. Yeah, we're going with it. That looks like a gibble. It is a gibble. Alright, so... that may be where the cottage cheese dough could be messing us up, but instead of having 3 float, I'm thinking about putting 1 feeder in. Just as a, to kind of test the difference, I guess. Because I'm sure that it's going to work just as well on feeder. There's another gibble. And that was on pearl barley only, so it's not just the cottage cheese that's also catching gibbles. Alright, there we go. Now we're getting a nibble on line 3. So let's get this fish in if we can. And then I think I'm going to use one of our picker rods and try to see if we can get a comparison. I always just assume that overall you're going to do better on feeder with bream. But it is interesting to try to catch some on float. Okay. Making sure that one wasn't like all the way under. Alright, so let's get our picker rod out. And I'm going to put a little bit of bream ground bait in there. And we'll use a large 1 hook. Cottage cheese. 5.4 is fine. Now, one thing I'm not sure of is like what clip we're using here. It's not far, obviously. We'll just go 10. Let's make sure we're casting kind of straight off here. See how that does as well. So we'll do the combo. I love the auto hooking that happens with feeders. So if we're going to deal with all this nibbling and trying to figure out when they're actually on, I'd rather have one just straight up catching them. And we are seeing more gibbles than bream. I will say that once it is clear that we're getting a bite from the bream, ooh, rank 3 telescopic rods, okay. Once it's clear we're getting a bite from the bream, it's not like we're missing a ton of bites, which is nice. All right, are we also getting, no, that is a crucian. So we got some variety in this spot, I guess. Huh. That is the one thing that gets me every time, is when it's laying down like that. I don't know. Now I'm going too early again. Wow. Okay. I mean, it's happening. It is definitely happening. So let's see, we're at 1.3 depth. 10-meter clip on the feeder. Not that the feeder's necessarily been working that good. Maybe we should switch it to, oh, by the way, I did try the carp spot here at Old Burg. It's just too slow for me. There are black carp there, there's tench, there's grass carp obviously, but just too slow. Unless you can just like, unless you're doing something else. You know, it's kind of one of those where you throw the poles in, your carp rods, and then just forget about it for a couple hours and catch fish when they're on. This is interesting. All right, that's a crucian again. Yeah, we are at 1.3 meters for the Bream in terms of depth. I think most folks have been using pearl barley for the float, catching them on float. I did want to try sandwich. I don't know if it's worked any better. We're just catching so many non-Bream. But yeah, old Burg right now seems to be pearl barley's the best, but catching a lot of stuff. So it might work better if I took off the cottage cheese and just focused on pearl barley. But even the pearl barley is catching the gibbles, so maybe not. Alright, we're going to try switching this to pearl barley real quick. On feeder. Or on picker rod. I think my energy bar might be a little glitched. It's not going up. All right, let's see if this is actually a Bream here. It is indeed. It is really nice for lower level players when pearl barley is working for Bream like this, though. You do want, I mean, I've got, what, 8.2 on here. I would say you at least want 7 something line strength. Just on that off chance you hit a trophy, you want to have a chance of getting it out of the water. Part of me wonders if even on the floats, if I've been casting them a little too far out there. I don't know that that's the case, but I am kind of wondering. Yeah, we're starting to catch them pretty consistently on feeder, which does kind of show you, like, you know, It's a nice little bream spot. I mean, even if you use 3 feeders at such a short cast, it's a really efficient way to catch bream. But that's why folks are doing the float fishing for bream here, is because oftentimes bream spots are a little farther out, so it's harder to get your float that far out. But I think this is kind of known as a nice little spot for float fishing for bream. Getting to that time in the morning where it's going to start to slow down. I was hoping we might get one more on float. There it is. There's a little bream. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe we had him a little too far out there. I'm not sure. It's probably a pretty wide area, but that does make me wonder. Now I'm really starting to wonder. We might have been casting a little too far out on bream with the float. Which one you want to try first? One is going awfully violent. Ooh, there we go. A little gibble. I thought that was violent enough, but apparently it wasn't. I don't think that's going to be a bream on the feeder, just because of how long it's nibbling. What do we have this tip at? Well, 7 gram tip, maybe it is. I mean, we've caught some bream. I think this spot is interesting. Figured that was a gibble. Lots of gibble and a few bream. Another gibble. Okay. So let's go see how we did. I think that's, you know, I know there's more than one bream spot right now at Old Burg, so I haven't tried the other one. The other one may be like really solid, but that one seems pretty good. I mean, I think if you want to have the fun experience of trying to catch them on float, they're definitely there. And if you want to just catch some good bream on feeders, I think you'd probably do pretty good. It looks like pearl barley is the way to go, although some folks are still catching them on cottage cheese at the moment too, probably other baits as well. But at least the weeklies right now, it looks like the largest ones are coming out on pearl barley, which is great. For float, I was using 5 and 6 hooks. For feeder, you can use, a lot of different sizes, but on the picker rod I did have large 1 hooks on just to see if we hit a big one. Well, we're going to have that one. Let's make sure there's not a bigger gibble one. No, there's not. So we have the tench order from the other spot. And gibble order from here. So a little bit of silver. A little bit of cafe action. And then that black carp. It's alright. Almost 100 silver. But if you just count the bream, it's more like 28 silver. So, but it's interesting. Not bad. Kind of fun going for bream on float. Again, that was 1.3. Let me make sure. 1.3 meter depth there on the float rods. All right. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Tight lines, everybody.